The movie begins by introducing AXL, a highly advanced robotic dog designed by a top-secret military project. AXL, short for Attack, Exploration, Logistics, is an artificial intelligence-enhanced mechanical canine built to be a powerful weapon. However, it also has the ability to develop emotional bonds with its handler. The scientists at Crane Systems, led by the ruthless Andric, have designed AXL to follow only those it trusts, using a pairing technology. One day, during a test mission, something goes wrong, and AXL escapes into the wilderness to avoid being captured. Miles Hill, a teenage motocross rider with raw talent but little confidence, he lives in a modest home with his supportive but strict father, Chuck Hill, who encourages him to focus on securing a better future rather than just racing bikes. Miles is struggling financially and often finds himself at a disadvantage in the competitive motocross world, where wealthier riders like Sam Fontaine dominate. Miles eventually meets Sarah Reyes, a kind-hearted and artistic girl who has been stuck working for Sam Fontaine because of her family's financial struggles. Miles and his best friend ride dirt bikes through a California desert, practicing for an upcoming race. They encounter Sam Fontaine, a rich, arrogant motocross rider who enjoys belittling Miles. Sam, along with his gang, ridicules Miles for not having an expensive bike or sponsorship. Later that day, Miles decides to explore the nearby hills alone. Miles is riding his dirt bike through a remote and rugged landscape when he stumbles upon unusual signs of disturbance. The terrain appears to have been scorched, and there are mechanical parts scattered around. He hears faint electronic noises, almost like a distressed creature. Curious, he follows the sound and notices a trail of damage, as if something heavy and powerful moved through the area. The closer he gets, the more he senses that something unnatural is present. As Miles cautiously moves forward, he unexpectedly stumbles upon AXL, which is hiding and visibly damaged from its escape. At first, Miles is scared and tries to flee. AXL reacts defensively at first, its glowing eyes scanning Miles as a potential threat. The moment is tense. Miles doesn't know whether the machine will attack or retreat. Miles slowly approaches and realizes that AXL, despite its intimidating appearance, is not hostile. At this point, AXL's bonding protocol activates, recognizing Miles as a compatible human partner. The robot's glowing eyes shift from red, aggressive mode, to blue, neutral and friendly mode, signaling trust. He notices damage to AXL's exterior and decides to help it. Using his knowledge of mechanics, AXL responds positively and begins to trust Miles. He notices a control panel on its body and tentatively touches it. Suddenly, the robot's AI scans Miles and determines that he is not an enemy. Realizing that AXL is injured, Miles decides to help. He uses his motocross skills to tow AXL back to safety and begins repairing the robot's damaged exterior. He helps repair AXL using his mechanical knowledge and slowly forms a bond with it. As he does, AXL begins responding to his presence, making subtle canine-like gestures, such as tilting its head and wagging its mechanical tail. He also discovers that AXL has a variety of incredible features, including high-speed running, powerful weapons, and the ability to communicate using a digital interface. Over time, Miles teaches AXL to trust him, and they develop a friendship. This moment marks the beginning of their friendship. Miles sees AXL as more than a machine, and AXL, in turn, accepts Miles as its new companion. Excited about his discovery, Miles takes AXL back to a secluded location and starts learning more about its features. AXL can run at incredible speeds. He can scan for threats and analyze people's emotional states. Miles teaches AXL tricks, and they start forming a real friendship. He even takes AXL on a ride, with the robotic dog keeping up with his dirt bike. Meanwhile, Andric, the lead scientist at Crane Systems, has been tracking AXL's location using internal systems. He becomes increasingly desperate to retrieve the AI weapon before the military finds out it has gone missing. Andric sends drones to scan the area and locate AXL. They track AXL's location using its system and prepare to capture it. She notices Miles acting differently and follows him to the hills, where she sees AXL for the first. At first, Sarah is skeptical and nervous, but Miles assures her that AXL is friendly. She slowly warms up to the robotic dog, and the three spend time together, having fun. They go to a remote hideout that Sarah uses as an art studio. AXL presents Miles with a device which takes a blood sample and completes the pairing process. Sam arrives and confronts Sarah, jealous of her relationship with Miles. AXL attacks Sam and Miles uses the situation to threaten him, telling him to leave Sarah alone. Sarah is angry that Miles has inflamed an already bad situation, but says she will not leave Miles. Leaving AXL, they go back to Miles' home and tell his father, Chuck, about the robot. Chuck advises them to return it to its owners. Sam plots to take AXL for himself. That night, Sam and his friends ambush AXL while Miles is away. They try to control it, but AXL resists. Frustrated, Sam grabs a flamethrower and burns AXL, causing severe damage. Sarah sees the live recording on her phone and she and Miles take off to save him. They are too late, but AXL gives them a location to get him repaired. Meanwhile, a man sent by Andric shows up at Chuck's house and demands to know the location of the device that controls AXL. Chuck grows suspicious and outmaneuvers the man, demanding answers to his own questions. The man reveals he is looking for AXL. They find the robotic dog barely functioning, its circuits exposed and its system failing. Miles and Sarah take AXL to a garage, where the robot begins repairing itself. Andric sees a log of its location and sends a team to retrieve it. The agents arrive and try to retrieve the robot while it is still repairing. The repairs finish just in time, and AXL subdues the operatives. As AXL reboots, he recalls being burned with a flamethrower, and races off to kill Sam. Miles and Sarah rush to stop him. Sam and his friends are partying when AXL arrives. Sam tries again to burn him with the flamethrower, but the fuel runs out. Miles and Sarah arrive and convince AXL not to kill Sam. A swarm of drones arrives and disables AXL. Miles and Sarah are captured and delivered to Crane Systems. Andric takes AXL back to the lab, where he prepares to wipe its memory and restart its programming. Miles is devastated and attempts to fight back, but Andric warns him to stay away. He reminds Miles that AXL is government property and threatens him with legal consequences if he tries to interfere. When Miles refuses to reveal where the remote is, Andric programs AXL to attack Sarah. She manages to convince AXL not to attack her, by reminding him of how she drew a feather at the hideout. Andric tries to override Miles' control of AXL, but fails. Captain Weber, Andric's military superior, shows up. Andric tries to escape, but is arrested. Knowing they are surrounded, Sarah allows herself to be captured. Miles and AXL escape, but are pursued by helicopter. They race through hilly terrain until Miles falls from his motorbike. Miles orders AXL to run. As they reach a dead end, Miles realizes they are outnumbered. AXL, understanding the danger, makes a heartbreaking decision. It transmits a final message to Miles through its interface, thanking him for their friendship. AXL obeys and tries to get as far away as possible before self-destructing, whilst uploading to the internet all the memories he, Miles and Sarah had together. Having finished, AXL looks at Miles' image for the last time, and says, "Yo, send it." Before finishing the self-destruct sequence, 6 weeks later, Andric has been imprisoned for violating national security and endangering the lives of civilians. He is visited by Weber, who informs him that AXL's code has resurfaced and wants to know what it is doing. Sarah and Miles have gone to college with scholarships provided by the military, to buy their silence and to keep an eye on them. Sarah and Miles are spending a day hanging out at the beach, studying and playing with their new puppy, when Sarah hands him an envelope. Miles opens it and pulls out a note from his dad saying, "This yours?" He flips the envelope upside down and AXL's remote falls out into his hand. He asks Sarah if he should press it. The device uploads an AXL app onto their phones. They realize that AXL has somehow survived and is trying to return to them. The film ends with hope, leaving the possibility that AXL survived or that another version of it might be created. If you enjoyed diving deep into the story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated.